have him vote please either be our congressman in District 22. I am a firm believer he will, because I believe God is behind him. And if you haven't voted for him yet, please do so. But I want to introduce Troy Nehls, our speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And I hope you all are enjoying your wonderful breakfast this morning, and the coffee is fantastic, and the juice. And I believe that lunch will be coming in at around 11 o'clock. So I'll make sure that we get that lunch break while I won't do that to you. My name is Troy Nehls, and it's truly been an honor and privilege to serve Fort Bend County for almost 48 years, and the last 8 years as sheriff. And, you know, I'm running for Congress, and I think, Joe, you mentioned it just a bit that, you know, politics today have just gotten to the point that it's just nasty. And I believe it's because our country, me personally, I believe that our country is on a moral decline like never before. I have a beautiful bride. She's a principal of an elementary school. She's been in education for 25 years, a principal of an elementary school in Lamar, consolidated Bethlehem. And we have 3 wonderful daughters. Jenna, who's a sophomore at Texas Tech. She, senior year, you know, got this wonderful idea. Said, I want to go to school out of state. He's up there in Lubbock. It's about an 8-hour drive. I says, if you think you're missing mom and dad and you're driving home on a weekend, that's not going to happen. And that was a mistake. And now she flies. So then we have one. She's a freshman at Foster High School. And then we have this beautiful little Tori who's going to turn 8 in December. It's just wonderful. I've been very blessed to have a wonderful family. But when a candidate, and Larry, I think you understand what I'm talking about, Joe, we all understand that it's just not, we have to have such a strong support group around us, our immediate family, our extended family, our friends, to do this, because it is very difficult today with campaigns, with what you're seeing, all the negative ads on television, and that beautiful young lady that greeted us on the way in at that ticket, you know, when you signed in, she actually walked across, came out from behind the counter and said to me, she said, I'm sorry. She said, I'm sorry with what we're seeing on TV and all the negative things they're saying about you. And I told her, I said, you know, I said, in today's environment, it just seems like they'll throw things out there to see if it sticks. And it's because of that moral decline. And I think it's sad because many of us, you know, 15, 20, 30 years ago, you never saw this civil unrest. I mean, we saw civil unrest, but not what you're seeing today. I mean, when you see we disagree on an issue, and all of a sudden now we're just going to start taking over city blocks in Seattle. Did you hear what happened last night and the night before where they threw a fire, some type of a device, into a police car with the police sitting in that car? I think it's just very dangerous times. And this civil unrest should be concerning for each and every one of us. Fortunate for us here, we haven't seen it here. You know, we live in a very, very diverse community. Texas 22, they will tell you it's the 2nd most diverse district in the entire country. Fort Bend County is the most diverse county in the entire country. And fortunate for us, we're not seeing that civil unrest in Fort Bend County, this district, because I believe that the people that call Fort Bend County home, District 22, we all have mutual love and respect for each other. I think there is an enormous amount of faith in our area. I think, is it Pastor Tim? I believe, and thank you for that prayer. I believe in the beginning you said acknowledging God, right? Acknowledging Him. And I think we're falling away from that. We are not acknowledging Him, right? We are moving away from God and thinking that government is going to take care of our problems. We are going down a path that should be concerning to each and every one of us. The idea of taking the in God we trust off of our currency, the idea of taking one nation under God out of our pledge, taking prayer out of our schools, our religious freedom is being attacked each and every day. And I start to see, I believe I don't want to use the word revolution, but I believe that there's an awakening. And we all need to be aware of what we are seeing take place each and every day in this country. I never thought 4 months ago that I would see the looting, the rioting, the civil unrest in some of our greatest cities in the country. And it was hard to have your children, specifically Tori. I mean, I'm watching just basic news, and it was constant, looking at all the civil unrest and the hatred that we saw amongst the American people that may be divided by politics. But why can't we all take a step back and say, are we all not God's children? It's a very difficult time. I would say today is a difficult time in our country. I told my little Tori, and I said, you know what? I said, little love, I call her little love. I said, baby, I said, what you're seeing, I said, there's just a lot of emotion. There's a lot of rage. There's COVID going on. There are people that are losing their jobs, lost their businesses, and it's just, there's very little civility anymore. It's just such dividing. It's partisanship. And we have to do better than that. We have to be able to come together, because I don't believe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I believe you could sit at a table and talk about your differences. Have a casual conversation and agree to disagree. Today, you don't even see that. We have a wonderful, I believe, and she will be confirmed, and she will be the next member of our greatest high school in the land, Amy Colbert. But Amy's not even, there were individuals that didn't even want to talk with her. And I thought, Senator Schumer, out of respect, you should have a conversation, but they didn't even want to meet with her, and they didn't even want to speak with her. But I believe this is a very critical time for the conservative cause, for Christian values, to make sure that Amy Colbert gets nominated, and she's going to be the next member of our Supreme Court in the highest court in the land. And I think that's going to be good for America. And I support that, and I hope you all do as well. And hopefully this will all be done. I don't know the timeline, but they're thinking maybe before the election, maybe after. But if you've been watching some of the testimony and what they're saying, attacking her for her belief system, her Christian values, I think is something that it should be unsettling for all of us here as well, to attack her for that. But I am truly honored to be the nominee for Congress in Congressional District 22. It has been an interesting ride. But I'm a big boy. You know, I was elected in 2004 as a constable and re-elected in 2008, and then I ran for sheriff in 2012 and 2016. And I've been working polls the last couple of days, working in the primary. And people even said the last couple of days, you know, everything you're seeing on TV, do you sleep at night? And I said, I sleep like a baby. I do. Because I truly believe I have never, ever worried about an election. I just don't do it. And I think Joe and I just spent a minute earlier before I said, because if it is to be, he will take us there. I don't worry about elections. If this is what he wants me to do, he will provide it. That's it. Because there was a young man at the polling that he's running for an elected office, and I can just tell he's all spun up and wired up. I said, young man, this is your first time. You're gonna have to settle down because you're gonna need a lot of Rolaids. If you don't have a little bit of faith, our country is falling away from our faith. And I think we see it each and every day, as I mentioned, with what we're seeing in our country. But I will say we're seeing it as a sheriff. We're seeing it in our young people. We're seeing more and more people each and every day attempt to take their lives. Those that are successful should be alarming to each and every one of you. 20 veterans a day taking their lives. More and more people getting into substance abuse because they lack faith. They're falling away from their faith and they're worshiping either drugs or alcohol. And we have to reach out to those people that are suffering today. People that suffer from mental illness, specifically depression and anxiety. When we go to our calls for service, and there are many that take their lives, a common denominator with the family, as they say, Billy or Susie or Bob or Jim, they suffer from depression. Did they get help? Did they reach out to get help? No, they did not. Some say they did, some say, most of them say they did not get help. And I said, why? And as American people, I am telling you right now, we, as God's children, have to be better than that. Because there's a stigma. There's a stigma attached to mental illness. And people aren't willing to share with someone else how they're feeling. And they keep it bottled up inside. And then they resort to something that will take away that pain. And that's drugs and alcohol. And then you're down the wrong path. And then eventually it leads to you attempting to take your life. And there are too many that are successful. Because they're lacking faith. And they feel they can't talk about it and share it with us. And that is horrible. We need to be better than that. We need to acknowledge the fact that there are many people out there that suffer from mental illness, and we should not look down upon them. We should look down upon them. Whether you look at the homelessness that we have across the country, a lot of those people are veterans, and they're coming back. They may be suffering from PTSD and all those other things. We need to help people like that. And we don't need to be so judgmental. We need to help people that are suffering. And mental illness does not discriminate. It's rich, poor, young, old, black, brown, all of it. I've been to suicides of 10-year-olds. 10. We had 3 last week. 3 gentlemen took their lives with their handgun. 3. 2 within 10 minutes of each other. I'm thinking, why? So we have to address that. That is one thing that I'm really, really concerned about, and that is an issue that I would like to bring up in Washington and have a conversation with members of Congress, saying what can we do to try to help people that are suffering so much and the mental health of the American people. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know. I could sit up here. I was joking about the lunch. No. But no, it's been an honor and a privilege to be here, and I'm going to keep the faith. We have to pray for our country. November 3rd, no matter what happens, whatever side wins, we have to pray for our country, and we have to pray for healing, because that's what we're going to need.
I had somebody ask a question that wanted to know if you're elected, what you would do to protect religious freedoms in our country. Would you mind sharing that?
Our Constitution guarantees it. Our Constitution guarantees it. In Fort Bend County, you will have a mosque here, a mile down the road. There will be a temple on Brand Lane, Baptist Temple. Then you have a church here. You have a Methodist church over there, a Baptist church here. It's guaranteed in our Constitution, and that's never going to change. They're going to attack. They're fighting, but we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow that. It's guaranteed in our Constitution. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sheriff Nehls.
Keep the faith, America.